Hello, and welcome to Supreme Verdicts, where your attorney plays Magic the Gathering. Today, I'm going to be playing Yorion Sky Nomad in the queue, Historic Brawl, or Brawl as it's now called. This is a fairly basic blink or flicker deck. I'm never really sure what the difference is. Let me know if you actually know the difference. It's either exiling or immediate or end step, whatever. We're building this deck, basic flicker, basic enters the battlefield abusing these abilities. However, it's geared more towards Brawl. This means there's going to be a lot more cheap removal spells that are going to be a little bit more narrow if you were playing the commander version of the deck, but are necessary in order to cut out these aggro decks so that we can get to the long game where we've got some fun infinite combos with Displacer Kitten or just generally powerful cards that we can blink again and again for value, as this does play fairly like a blue-white control deck. One of my favorite things to do. Yeah, Yorion is a deck that I have built in Commander. Brago King Eternal was my very first Commander deck. Blue-white Flicker has been something I'm a big fan of. So it was one of the very first decks that I built in Brawl. Here we're going to be playing Amalia, another very good deck. A really fun one, honestly. I'm a big fan. We've got some card draw, which is good, and Luris Companion. Okay, they're going to have a lot of small stuff, which makes me want to get a board wipe in play. Lauren is a little bit worse, but we do go first, and I like that. I think we keep. Let's see how this goes. We've got card draw. We've got some card selection as well. Opponent's mulliganing, always a good sign for us. They have these fun little beach sleeves. It's winter right now, so, feels good. Luris Companion. Now, Yorion is also a companion, which is fun to note, but it's illegal in Brawl as well as in Commander to be used as companion, since we have to have 100 decks. Luris means that all their permanent cards are going to have mana value 2 or less. So it's going to be a lot of cheap enchantments and artifacts that can sacrifice themselves, creatures that can sacrifice themselves probably. Let's, just for fun, make them sweat a little bit, think that we're going to counter, but no, it's just a Meticulous Archive. That's pretty good. Makes their cheap stuff expensive. We don't have lands, though, right now. So I think for now... No, we'll keep it. It's not good against Amalia, but it's good against some of their later stuff. I think here we want to get more lands, so let's just play a Fibblethip. Stop them from attacking, make it easy. Nice, there's our land. Amalia is going to provide a lot of value by putting stuff into the graveyard that Luris can then regurgitate. They might have some more expensive top-end spells, like Breach the Multiverse, just to add a little bit of that oomph to the deck that you so often need in Brawl. That's why we like to keep some of our higher-cost spells. Muldrifter, of course, being one of those powerful cards. 5 mana. No, 3 mana, draw 2, or 5 mana, repeatedly draw 2. Land tax. Okay. Do they have their land drop? Okay. Do we want to give them lands? You know what? We don't have to. Let's attack first. They're gonna... Actually, we don't really have much that we need to do. I'm okay with holding this up. There's no way they block. And if they do, we have other forms of card draw in Lauren as well as other methods. That was much more of a bluff. But I don't mind just kind of removing some of their early draws. We're making our way up to Yorion mana. Okay, Amalia. They're starting to explore. Which can get to be problematic. Nightclub Bouncer is not great at getting rid of Amalia. We're still looking for some kind of board wipe situation. Next turn, we're going to want to play Mind Stone for 2. Or we could just do Nightclub Bouncer. Make Amalia cost more. Okay, no blocks. That's pretty fun. That has Flash. They'll gain life whenever a creature enters the battlefield. So I guess we can wait, see what they do, hold it up. No attacks. Pass. We can also draw a card on the end of their turn to try to hit that last land drop for Yorion. Don't mind giving them cards here, because the odds are their cards are going to be a lot lower impact than ours whenever they gain a life. Sure, they won't be able to cast Amalia. Do they have something at instant speed here? 1, 2, 3 mana. Maybe. Yeah, we'll take some damage. Ouch. Yes, I'll pay the ward. What do they have? They have a kill spell, don't they? Oh, never mind. I guess they have absolutely nothing. Yeah, we're in a decent spot. We can draw on end step in order to get that last land to try to cast Yorion, which generates just overall value. The whole point of this deck is to just kind of snowball into value, stay alive bit by bit, remove the opponent's stuff until we can get to that final game plan. This is a control deck. So, Blink versus Flicker. I never really know the difference. One of them is exile and return immediately to get that value. The other one is exile until the next end step, which can get around board wipes, as well as create a weird little interesting interaction between the two. Yorion is until end step, but other cards such as Cloud Shift is going to be an immediate flicker. Wow, this is a bad hand against a very good deck. They took a mulligan. They're going to have a turn 1 ramp spell, creature ramp, presumably. Temporary Lockdown can be really good if we hit. They're just going to ramp over the top of that. We need our colors and we need more removal. Swords is not bad here. Counterspell's not bad here. Reflector Mage isn't bad. It's unfortunate that we're so lacking our colors, but we'll take this. It's better than nothing. The question is, do we Swords to Plowshares their turn 1 elf, or do we get that blue source online? Nice. That made the... Oh, okay. Made the answer easy for us. Let's go ahead and do this now in case they have Stifle. 1 mana blue counters any ability. Snowlands are in the deck for a variety of reasons. Other streamers are very on it, and I like them. They mention how there are ways to steal spells, just with all the alchemy nonsense. And so having Snowlands makes it so in case you steal an Into the North from an opponent, or something that synergizes well with Snowlands. I think we're just going to get rid of their elf. Yeah, Chulane is scary, but we need to slow them down in general until we can start an infinite bouncing loop with Reflector Mage. This card's great. It's an uncommon. It does everything you want to do in 1v1, where you can tempo them out continuously and just get your opponent to repeatedly not be able to do anything. So they have 2 mana up right here, which could be Counterspell, could be Mana Drain, a much better version of Counterspell that is also in Brawl. I would normally go for Reflector Mage here, but we're playing control deck, we're hitting our land drops, there's no problem with passing, wasting 2 of their mana. Let's see what they fetch. Surveil land, presumably. Yeah, fortunately we don't have Nightclub Bouncer up right now for that instant speed interaction, but if all they do is play Chulane on the next turn, well, 1, we can counter it. Wrath of God in your creature deck? That's a choice. See, Yorion plays Wraths, but we're not exclusively creatures. We bounce all permanents. I don't know if we have yet to cast this, but we'll see it in a minute. You see, exile until the beginning of the next end step. That's good value. Let's just counter it. Again, we're gonna get them stuck on a looping cycle. We just need to spend time until we get some mana for it. They'll have 5 mana, they'll be able to cast Chulane. Do we want to be able to reprieve it? I guess we'll be able to kill it. In which case, let's Reflector Mage. Draw out some of their removal. Slow them down a little bit. We're giving them a 1 mana spell to cast for when they have more mana with Chulane, which is unfortunate, but we left up the 1 blue too, which makes them think we have Wash Away. Unfortunate, because we want to draw their commander out here. We're trying to... There we go. And now, if they have Pact of Negation, good for them. I'm hoping that they don't. And we're gonna... Mightstone, Weakstone. Very nice. -5/-5 to Chulane. They concede. Maybe? Nah, okay, our opponent's made a stronger stuff. Get in for a little bit of damage. Here's where things get interesting. They're getting to have a lot of mana. Llanowar Elves is a good sign, because it means next turn... Nice. They're hoping that we drop Yorion, but we can do better than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to play this island so we have Sublime Epiphany up now. just in case. We don't know what shenanigans they might get into, but we're not planning on casting anything. This can draw some more cards, but right now, I'm cool with hitting them for 2 a turn. What are they going to do? Castle Ardenvale? No, they don't even. They're scared. They're holding up mana. Pass to attacks? No attacks. Sounds good. Here, let's bounce a permanent. Yeah, what are they going to do? Counter it? We're just getting on board. This is maybe a little bit aggressive of me. We don't need to do this. We're in a good spot here. We're drawing out their counterspell. They don't have double blue, so funny enough, we can, right? They just have a singular blue. Yeah, we'll just bounce the reprieve back to their hand. Draw a card. Do they have another counterspell? Worst case, they choose to fight right now, and then we can Yorion, draw some cards, get more value, get ahead on lands. Excellent. Look at that. Now, that was an interesting choice of theirs. I don't know if you noticed that on the stack, but the Strict Serenade actually countered my original spell of the Nightclub Bouncer, counter target creature. That way, they would get the counterspell back to their hand for whatever they want to do this turn, which is a good move on their part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana they're going to have, which is... Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, excuse me. Enough for Tulane, not with counterspell backup. We know they have board wipes. We don't really care. We're going to go to combat. We're going to swing in. We're going to hit. I think we're just going to Yorion. Do we keep up Odawara? I want to. No, we'll probably play it out. Let's bounce these two. Let's play our land, just because we need to keep hitting those land drops. We'll bounce that. We'll draw a couple cards. They're set up for a board wipe, but we have a way to stop. We have 2 ways to stop it, if we so choose, which is kind of fun. Because we can Pact a Negation for them to counterspell the Pact in order to draw it out, and that way we don't have to pay the 5 and then Memory Lapse their counterspell. We're tempoing them effectively. Spectral Sailor. Instant speed, no problem. Not sure what that's going to do. Like I said, their creatures are fairly cheap to trigger Tulane. Yeah. They have more interaction than I would have expected, but this is Brawl, you know. That's kind of how you're supposed to do it. Do we want to get a spell back here? We could get back Counterspell, Reprieve, or something else. I think we go to combat, see what happens. I don't feel the need to hold this up. I guess if I play a land first? That's a good question. We don't have a way to flicker Yorion at the moment. And there's no way in my graveyard. So I'm thinking... Are we just going to tempo this? We might. Let's go to combat. Let's see what they have. Yeah. Because we're not going to be able to do that this turn. So let's play the land. They're at 16. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're in a 2-hit swing. They're going to have to start jumping next turn. We're going to apply pressure. And now what we're going to do is make it so they just, yeah, end turn. Let's see what they do. They draw a card. I really want to. Copy. Create a token and draw a card. Alright, so let's... Red. Return something to its owner's hand. We'll return back the Spectral Sailor. Sure. Let's make a copy of Yorion. And let's draw a card. Now, the reason we make the copy of Yorion here, look at this. And which one are we going to keep? We're going to keep the copy, and we're going to move that back to the command zone. We can now recast this if we'd like. By doing it this way, they can recast Spectral Sailor if they want. I don't care about that. Because look at this. The beginning of their next end step. Nice, they did not go for it. I guess they realized they're at a low life total here. So Yorion is until the next end step. It's not our end step. Because we did this in our end step, they don't get... This does nothing. That's fine, it's on the ground. We can bounce it too. Now this one's a little bit more important. They have 2 mana up. Let's memory lapse this. Because we can kill them this turn. We'll go for it. Why not? There we go. They're flashing in a Snapcaster Mage just to have a blocker. We'll end that. And good game. Because we did this on our end step, Yorion's going to now, as you can see, the trigger goes onto the stack, bring back the Reflector Mage and the Mightstone and the Weakstone. I actually didn't need to counter the Snapcaster Mage, or the Spectral Sailor. I only had to counter one of them, excuse me, because I forgot Mightstone and the Weakstone was going to be returning to give -5/-5. And my opponent, I saw the writing on the wall, I had flickerable removal / card draw, flickerable removal. We had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once we either kill that or bounce it back, the choice is completely ours. They are destroyed. Good game. All right, next game, we're 2-0. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, you know, the normal stuff if you're enjoying yourself. And if you're not enjoying yourself, comment what I could do better. And if you know how to mess with audio qualities, comment how to do that too. I'm an attorney and an occasional Magic player. I'm not an audio god. This is an interesting deck. Scarab God. They could go a few ways. Zombie Tribal, probably just Reanimator, and my reputation precedes me. We are now 3-0. Let's try that again. I guess if you like, comment, and subscribe, the opponent concedes on the spot. Or maybe it was because I started talking about my job. God forbid. Now, this is a great way to relax. Love Magic. Arena itself is a little troublesome, but it's a good time. Loot Exuberant Explorer. This is a fun one. I really like this card. My fiance is really interested in loot. This is a bad hand, but I like it because I'm a sucker for value. Because they play a turn 1 elf, they play turn 2 loot, they play an additional land. They're so close to then being able to just cast loot and start wheeling again and again and again. If we were playing Commander, I would keep this hand. I know this is Alchemy, but I would keep this hand in Commander. Can't keep this hand in Brawl. We need removal. Temporary Lockdown is mana value 2 or less. It's a little slow, honestly. Here's more card draw. This also isn't great, but I hate mulliganing down more, so we'll keep. We'll see how it goes. Meticulous Archive, looking for removal. That can be problematic. Like I said, turn 1 elf. Always a turn 1 frickin' elf. Okay, removal. That helps. That is really good to kill their commander specifically, because in this format, they're always going to move their commander back to the command zone. Yeah, but we're always like 2 turns behind here. Hopefully they just won't have the land. I don't even know. Yeah. Lockdown's not even great here, but we do what we can. We'll get this down. I guess depending on how their turn goes, we'll lock down or not. Wow, that is crazy. Tyler's Provisioner. That's also a problem. Oh, Lord. It makes me want to lock down more, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think they played an extra land this turn, though. They played just 1. That's good to know. That makes lockdown a lot stronger here. Because they clearly have more mana. They're going to want to do loot. So let's get rid of the mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is bad right now. We don't need land at the moment. Ugh, Castle Garenberg's going to kill me. Oh, I could have upkeep. That's fine. That's okay. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to crack Wincept Keith. Let's just make sure our colors are all online. We'll be good to go. Right? Yeah, might as well. Pay 2. Scry. Because this is going to be covered under the temporary lockdown. We're just trying to slow them down a tiny bit. They'll still be able to activate loot, or they can swing in with a lot with Lair for the Hydra. We are not in a good spot here. But I'm more scared about these added treasures at the moment. Do I want a 4th land? 4th land will not do anything next turn, necessarily. We're going to need, just in general, more removal. Let's see, do they have an instant speed something? They do? No, it's just layer activation. We'll get rid of the elf. We'll get rid of some mana sources. Do they have land? They have loot. Okay. Yep. Taps them out for the turn. Get something scary. Another 3-drop. We're looking for a board wipe. We're looking for a board wipe. Alright. Let's make them use their mana. This is not great. The temporary lockdown will be fine to get rid of the Scoot Swarms when they start really popping off. The biggest issue is this actually a token copy of Scoot Swarm. We don't actually get to do that. Lotus Cobra's scary too. Now I kind of regret bottoming that land. Was that a bad decision? It wasn't a good decision. Because now we both need a land and a board wipe. Jesus Christ. Landfall, man. It's a good strategy. It's a good strategy, and we had a mediocre hand. Oh, man. Well, there's no 3-mana board wipe to pull off the top. I think that's going to be game. 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's game exactly. We can play Lauren, try to hold out a little bit more. I don't think that's particularly worth it here. Let's see what opponent does. Yeah. That was brutal. They really put the pressure to us. The turn 1 elf. Wow, and create a hoof. Good game. Good game. No blocks. So, what we could have done differently was mulligan more aggressively for removal to kill that turn 1 elf. As you see, they stalled out on lands, but loot itself is card draw. And it just lets you go into more and more maneuvers. We were a little too slow and unfortunately also on the draw. To get going, if we're on the play, we have a little bit of an advantage as one always does in Brawl, but on the draw, it can be a little bit more complicated getting things set up. You want to prioritize having removal in your opening hand. Sorry if you could hear that. Oh, this one's taking a while. I guess I can just cut this. That last game was a little bit difficult. On the draw, especially, without removal in hand, probably should have mulliganed a little bit more heavily towards it, knowing they would keep only with a turn 1 elf. Rusko. This one's a fun one. Rusko's a complicated deck. A fun deck to play. Bit of a difficult deck. We have removal for the clock, and not much else. Removal for Rusko himself, and lands. Lands are good. Our hand's going to get torn apart, though, as well. But I think that's okay. I think this is a keep. Because Lauren can get us... It's going to die. But we have cards. We have lands. I don't anticipate them letting us resolve a lot. So I think this is a really good way to just... Let's name blue here. And we're going to scry. Reliquary Tower. It's another land. At a certain point, if we have enough lands, we can get some card draw. Yeah, see, here we go. 1 blue. They might have Stifle. We're going to wait for them to cast their Consider or Opt or whatever it is. Brainstorm. Nice. Let's get ourselves Plains here. Maybe it should have been an island. There's Mystic Sanctuaries in this deck. It's always a consideration to make sure I have the 3 islands necessary for it to come in untapped if we draw that naturally or if we were trying to fetch for it later on. We just have all white cards. Oh, and they have an immediate Rusko, which is good. Thankfully, we have an answer at least to the clock. They have 1 blue mana up, though. Wow, you are a turn late. I guess let's take the 2 now, while I still feel comfortable with it. Nice, nothing. Bye-bye, clock. Do they have another cantrip? So far, it's all cantrips. 2 very good ones, to be sure, but still. I love the art on this Dark Ritual as well. Just the 3 hands opening up. I think that's wonderful. One of my favorite parts in Magic is the different art. Wow, a lot of mana rocks. Lauren is a good draw here. Are they going to attack? Of course they are. No blocks. putting the pressure on us. Definitely feeling the squeeze. We do have an Ephemerate, which is pretty good with Lauren, especially if they try to remove her, which I anticipated. We're now getting a little flooded. I'm regretting a bit all of my land plays, but we're doing okay. The reason why we're not flickering her right now and letting them have access to this mana is because I want to draw a card with her. Maybe that's greedy, but I think it'll be the best option. Okay. They played a land. They cast a Time Walk. Well, Temporal Manipulation. Extra turn spell. No blocks. We're taking some damage. Ouch. That's a 5 mana growth spiral. Draw a card, play a land. Sorta, kinda. They do get their mana untapped. An extra 3. That's not bad. This is target creature I control specifically. Okay. Yeah, make a clock. Pass to attackers. No blocks. Damage. It's not looking great. It's not looking great. We're going to turn on full control here to draw a card. And then in response to that, we're going to try to flicker her. That way, they can't draw into a removal spell to blow this out. It looks like they've got one anyway. Or they can just put a counter on the clock. No, they're going to remove her. Unfortunate. Next turn, we can try to slow them down a little bit by killing one of the Ruskos. Ouch. Bounce to hand. That's not the end of the world, but it's not great. If I draw a counterspell here. Exile target creature. That's not bad. Alright. I've got 5 mana. That blows. I want to use my mana efficiently, but it's a little bit difficult here. Let's see if they have the removal spell. I guess what I'll want to do is exile this Rusko, they recast it, and then exile it again, but bounce that one. It's complicated choices here. They're down to 3 cards. The Midnight Clock is becoming more and more important. They need to hold up counter magic for Lauren, or they're not going to be able to draw again. Now, if we get rid of this one, they can't recast it. That might be the best option, but they seem to be a gain and drain kind of deck. Alright, now let's get rid of the flyer. Let's get rid of the flyer, also because I don't want them to be able to recast the Rusko. We're going down to 5 here. 5, and then whatever they are able to cast. 5, 6, 7 if they do Guardian Idol. Are we dead? 6. 7, 8. Nah, lethal on board. Good job, opponent. Alright. We gotta be a little bit more careful about the attacking. We let ourselves get down there. Where else did the game go wrong? Do a quick analysis. Something I do in the legal field. Always go through a contract that falls apart. Opponent was playing a control form of Rusko as always, but it was a lot less removal. It was focusing a bit more on the cheap kind of cantrip effects. Creature lands are brutal. We flooded a little bit there. Lauren did okay, but it was not fast enough on holding back the Rusko. Wow. Wow. That was a rough one, but that's okay. We're going to get another game in here. So far, we're 3-2. 3-2, doing okay, especially considering it's not an uber competitive list. That being said, definitely a couple misplays here and there. Should have counted a bit better. Roxanne, Starfall Savant, is another very strong commander. A fun one, certainly, to play. And we have another clunky hand. This is brutal. Opponent's going first, too, so they're going to have the turn 1 elf. Let's see if they mulligan for it, at least. They're keeping? Okay, maybe they have turn 2 elf instead. Temporary Lockdown is good for getting rid of her little toys, and we can surveil into more land. Fibblethip lets Rivendell come in untapped. Temporary lockdown can get rid of the elves. They're going first. This is going to be a little bit tough. Might include some blocking and some flickering, but even then, that's hard because of Roxanne. This might not go well, but this is a decent hand. Do they have the turn 1 elf and they just took forever to think about it? Kami, even worse. Such a good card. Alright, let's scry. See if we can hit a tap land. I mean, we're gonna need the blocker for Yorion, I suppose. Should I be looking for... Yeah, no, let's keep the land. I'm gonna need it. It's not what I need right now. I guess Fibblethip will provide the extra draw. Especially if I'm trying to flux it at all. Okay, Shock. 3 mana. What do they have? Something that gives it haste or uncounterability. Ramp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have Roxanne next turn. Yeah, we should have scried for removal. This is rough, especially because Fibblethip is going to just die automatically, regardless of what we put. So I think here, we just have to kind of take it. Yeah, Roxanne, that hurts. Yeah. 2 damage to face. They hit the land too, so they are low on cards at least. Gotta find some ways to remove Roxanne, so we're now gonna surveil for that. A turn too slow. Should have bottomed that previous land. We'll get rid of that one for sure. Especially now that we have a couple tap lands coming in. That is not the fastest method of removal, but this is pretty decent. This will slow them down on ramp, especially because Roxanne's whole goal is to get rid of a lot of stuff. Look at that. That was brutal. But they managed to get her down, and she's a house on her own. Oh my god. I don't even know what's more important to kill here. Certainly O'Hare, but we're just a turn too slow on the mana. Every time. Alright. Looks like this is going to be Fibblethip. Let's see what we draw. Removal, removal, removal. Not quite. I'm tempted to just put this down so we have turn 5, the untapped land. However... what am I going to do? Just flux this twice? I might draw some cards here. Let's do it. They're going to get a good hit. We can River's Rebuke. They'll replay stuff. Okay. Pass 2 attacks. Oh my god, this is going to hurt. We're just going to die, aren't we? Fibblethip. We Essence Flux. Oh. Forgot about that part. Alright, for those of you who don't know, Fibblethip is not a great card. I should take it out and put in the 2 mana Helpful Hunter. Fibblethip, when you target with a Flicker spell... oh my god. What a misplay. Comment if you saw that coming and you're yelling, you knew exactly what I was going to try and that was going to go horribly no matter what. At least we didn't use Ephemerate. That would have just blanked it entirely. Oh god. Fibblethip says that if you target it with a spell, specifically, it shuffles it. Yorion is an ability, so it's never an issue, but with a spell, it's never going to work out. I don't see a way out of this, even with an untapped land. That's that. How close were we to a removal spell? Let's find out. One way or another. What are you holding up here? Exiling? We're just checking. We're just checking. For fun. Let me see what's on top of my deck. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Always a turn too slow, huh? We were on the draw again that game? God. The River's Rebuke. I updated the deck a little bit. We've been on the draw a couple too many times, so I added in another cheap removal spell, Fragment Reality. If you haven't seen it, it's an alchemy spell. It's really good. Hopefully we'll draw it. It's especially good at exiling a turn 1 elf or mana dork. And we've been against just enough too many ramp decks where I think it's a necessary inclusion. Fibblethip, on the other hand, I did cut for Helpful Hunter. Fibblethip's close to my heart, but just a little bit lack of synergy in that particular moment where we needed it. I also added in Sink into Stupor and cut Rivendell, because we just too often aren't going to have Yorion out. I think we haven't had a single game with him out. No white. Tail's End. We go first. Too slow. They're going to have a turn 1 spell. Gosh darn it. Boy howdy, let me tell you. This is, we need our colors, man. I don't know what to tell you. We need our colors. Alright. We're going to keep this. We'll get rid of Muldrifter because we have other forms of card draw. We're going to put this down, and we're going to immediately crack it, just in case they run Stifle. Plus, what do they need to know, you know? We have enough lands for everything in hand. I mean, it's a good card. Turn 2, we do Maze Mind. We do Spirited Companion, actually, I guess, just to draw the card immediately. God, am I too greedy? Let's keep it. It's a great card. Opponent does not have turn 1 elf. Love to see it. Pressure. Muldrotha is a really good card. Oh, Omen of the Sea, one of my favorites. During each of their turns, they're going to be able to play lands and cast permanents from their graveyard. We have yet to see a little bit of ramp, but we have yet to see any actual milling type effects currently, which is probably a good thing for us. I think we'll flash out Omen of the Sea here, as opposed to Maze Mind Tome with a Scribe, because Omen of the Sea is going to... It's just more value immediately. I love this card as well. Out of curiosity, let's see what we draw. That's pretty good. It's 3 mana as well. We can just Reflector Mage them as well. I think, because we're going to need to draw a card as well. Yeah, we can Reflector Mage this. We need to draw some land. There it is. Do they have the land drop to follow it up? Of course they do. Oh, and they get a Surveil. Nice. Get something into the graveyard. Fortunately for them, we're not killing their Scoot Swarm. We're just going to bounce it. Now, we could Maze Mind Tome and draw, especially with the Scoot Swarm not being a huge issue yet. I like the idea of setting them back a bit tempo-wise. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. They can cast Muldrotha next turn, so that is also partially a consideration. Or maybe we want to just build up to the River's Rebuke. We'll be on 4 mana, or 5 mana next turn, if I play this tapped, and that can kill the Muldrotha. No, it can't. 6/6. Important to note. Let's make them feel like they need more value. Yeah. I know we're not drawing a card here. I agree. It hurts my soul. But I think it's better to just slow down a little bit more pressure. Excuse me for the mic bump. We'll see how punished we get. We're learning, bit by bit, every chance I get. Nice, everything's a swamp. Great. Alright, they're ramping. Thassa, that's a great card. Flicker card, it's in this deck. They have pretty art for it, though. It's a little bit of a win more card, but it's pretty fun. First things first. Let's go ahead and attack the Reflector Mage. Opponent's not putting pressure on us, which is nice to see, and I'm happy about. I think here we might Maze Mind Tome, and we can Eerie Interlude for if there's interaction, or we can draw otherwise. We're going to end the turn. I'm going to put an upkeep stop just in case we want to scry with this to try to hit a land, depending on what the opponent does, if we want to River's Rebuke next turn. Scoot Swarm, nice. That's fun. Okay, Ghost Quarter. This allows us to search for basic land. That's no problem. Binding of the Old Gods, what are they going to hit? Okay. Let's draw a card, because this doesn't work on it, and that's alright. We're a little bit closer to a land. We can get rid of that stop. I think that was the right move here. I really do. Thankfully, that only flickers creatures. Let's see if we can hit that land. We cannot. Sad. Sad indeed. They're going to get ramp off of that, and they'll be able to play this, but there's no value yet for them, which is pretty good. The question is, what do they have in their hand? That was a very efficient turn, and they played out their removal spell. This can only flicker creatures. Why is that in their deck? Play a land, cast a permanent. I almost want a Yorion here, just to get the value. Draw 1, 2 cards. But it might just be better to draw the card now. Yorion next turn. I think we draw the card now. I know. We haven't seen Yorion yet. I agree. I'm kind of devastated. That's fun. We can use Mightstone and Weakstone if we really want to sacrifice Omen of the Sea. That's the thing about Yorion. The deck itself plays really well. You don't always need the commander. The commander is just a flicker spell that you can always have in your zone. Well, that's terrifying. We're now on Scoot Swarms. That's annoying. We do have a couple graveyard-centric cards in here. Some of the Delve cards, like Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise, I believe, are in the deck. They're just good blue staples. But we're not reliant on them. It is one of the reasons we utilize more fetch lands, because they're helpful with that. Now, there's a good card that you can flicker. Okay, they're going to get a lot of cards now, which is fine, because they don't have a... what's it called? The tower that lets them have no max hand size. And I think that solidifies that next turn we're just going to bounce everything. Flicker it, draw some cards. Do it. Draw as many cards as you want. You'll be able to do whatever you want next turn. And we're just going to ramp a little bit more. And we're just going to hit them a little bit more. And that's all good. They'll bounce. We're all just kind of scrabbling. That only buys us a little bit of tempo. I know, it's not great, but we'll see what they deploy and how bad or good that is for us. Scoot Swarm. Nice. Do they have another land? They do. Look at that. They drew so many. But it's notably not a tap land, or not a fetch land. Here's a setup turn for them, which will be great for us when we decide to Yorion. And I believe now we even have enough mana we can Yorion and then flicker in addition to that. They'll destroy the Mightstone or the Weakstone. That's fine. Unfortunate, but fine. That's also a good card. First, we attack. Do it. Block. They don't have any secret creature lands, right? This happened last game. Or 2 games ago. I think here we are just going to cast Yorion and hold up Eerie Interlude. Pass turn. This is the token. Yeah, let's bounce the token. We don't need lands. I'd rather interact. There we go. Now that's a card. This counters their commander, and we can pay all 3 mana to counter anything else of theirs if they have something particularly scary. Again, the Scoot Swarm is annoying and can get out of hand pretty quickly, but we still have another effect that will kill everything if we really want it. Depending on what they do this turn, because we can Eerie Interlude on end step in order to get rid of all of our creatures until the next end step, which allows us to then farewell their creatures and artifacts away. That's pretty good. Each opponent sacrifices... I want to do this on end step. I guess Reflector Mage is not nearly as good right now. That's fair. Let's get rid of a Reflector Mage. It's a good attacker, but unnecessary at the moment. Toss a Deep Dwelling. We'll wait for their end step. They're going to bounce Shieldred. Unfortunately, I think we do go for our enchantments here. Decline. Do not move it to the command zone. That's important. All right. Oh no, I sacrificed something. Oh no. I guess we can Mind Stone here first, but we want to destroy their artifacts too. We'll still have 2 mana afterwards if we want to do the Mind Stone, but I think we hold up Wash Away or Ephemerate. So let's do artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and graveyards. Unfortunate. But, you know, it'll be okay. So we'll still get to draw. Yeah. And we'll get to draw again. Such a good boy. Such a spirited companion. Mulldrifter, that's fine. They draw a couple. It's an interesting battle. We're not exactly doing well in card advantage currently, and they still have their beast of a commander, but we're keeping pace. We need more card draw, though. We now have a flicker spell, too, which is pretty good. That's also not bad. Let's go to a turn. Nice. Alright. I think it's time to start getting a little bit more aggressive. We can keep up as well. Okay, we want to hold up the Wash Away, a 3-mana Wash Away. So we can do this. We can play Solemn, attack, and still just have up. Or I can play this. Start flickering Yorion, get them into a flicker loop. No, I think we need Solemn first. So we can Mind Stone into Solemn. Oh, they have something? Forest. They have blue. I guess it doesn't matter that much. Let's get ourselves a land. Should have attacked first, maybe. We'll get some more blue. Hit them for 4. Yorion is a win con. It is a 4/5 flyer. It is not necessarily to be trifled with. They have, what, 2 mana? Yeah, okay. Some kind of counterspell, potentially. They have a lot of mana here. Mill 3, return a land. Land creatures. I think that's fine. Okay, they get a land. Again, I think we need to win here on cards more than anything else. So we're here to remove their card draw effect, and we're here to enchant when it dies, return it to the battlefield, and transform it as a reanimate spell. That's pretty cool. It's when it dies? Okay, that's fine. Thankfully, we have exiles, which is, you know, something that is popular in white, but in flicker decks, it's even better because your exile removal can go again and again and again. Now, we don't necessarily want a Banishing Light the Mulldrifter, because if they were to remove that, they'd be able to get it back. But we are looking, and sure, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have a lot of mana up, so we can expect there to be some kind of counter war, so I guess let's hold on to our cards for now. That's a good card. Well, it's a fine card. I like it. I think it's fun. But that's just me. Do I let them just keep drawing cards? No, I think we Banishing Light the Mulldrifter. I know I just said not to, but just to get the blocker out of the way, force their draw hand a little bit, so they also can't block it. Nice. Let's go to combat. Let's attack with Yorion. This is a very slow, bleeding death. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want to save 3 of that, so we do have 4 mana still. Less if we want to be able to do other stuff. As much as Flicker Chains with Yorion sounds like a... You know what? Flicker Chains with Yorion sound like an absolute blast. Let's try it. Let's go for it. They'll probably counter Teleportation Circle if that's what they're holding up. But even then, yeah, it's just value for us. We don't even need it. Some really good cards are just stuck in our hand because we're trying to use things. There we go. Like I said, we'll take that. Notably, they did that in our second main phase. So we're actually going to get a land. We're going to get to put it... does this come in tapped? May search, put it onto the battlefield. Nice. Let's pay 2. Now we can search this for basic planes. I believe we haven't played a land yet for turn. Correct me if I'm wrong. Punish me, punish me, punish me. Nice. Let's see. Basic planes. Nice. Never punished. Never punished. We still get to hold up the wash away, as well as we have some flicker targets. I'm just waiting for them to board wipe here. Whenever it attacks, they mill 3. That's fine. And return a land. Anything that they can do from the graveyard. This is a really cool deck. I love their art. That Duskborn, man, it was such a scary set. No blocks. We'll take the 3. That's no problem. Notice, still no creature land. Gotta keep an eye on that. I'm gonna add that to a checklist. I think at some point I'm just gonna make a checklist of how to play my games of Magic, because there's some mistakes you're always prone to making. And that Ghost Quarter's still up. That's why we haven't been animating the Hall to go in for a much bigger attack. We don't want to give them the advantage to use their magic well. Now, see, this is a great example of something that we will want to counter. Do they have it? Protection? No. Let's give them a little bit of that Teferi action. Because now they can cast stuff anyway, but that's okay. They're not going to really get to. I mean, maybe... Oh, the Haywire Mite's actually pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Because that can free later interactions. We do have a Sublime Epiphany for it, though. Which I think will just kind of solidify what's going on here. I think I'm going to exile this. They're going to gain some life. I know. I know. But they currently have no mana. Do I craft this? No. Because then I don't have enough mana left over to hold up Sublime Epiphany. So instead, let's bounce the Haywire Mite. So why not? Get some more pressure in on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Ouch. Pass. The Haywire Mite, there's a couple ways to deal with it. We can Sublime Epiphany, which is the big, fun, flashy play. The other way to do it, which I might show y'all just because it looks like we're doing pretty well here, is to Ephemerate Yorion in order to exile it. They'll get their Mull Drifter back, which will allow them to draw a card. Now, okay. I guess here, might as well. I don't want to deal with it. Target non-land permanent. This is to return. Let's bounce that back before they attack. Let's flicker. Let's make a copy of Yorion. You've seen this trick once before. This is ridiculous. I love this deck. There's just, the interactions are kind of crazy. Let's keep this. Let's take it back to the command zone. Now, I can't ephemerate the copy of Yorion, but wow, that is brutal. We were about to flicker out everything. They were going to get Mull Drifter back. I don't know why they're so upset. They were going to get Mull Drifter back. Silly opponent. Alright, and with that last game being as crazy as it was, I think we're going to call the video there. A little bit under an hour, but I had a really good time, and I really hope you enjoyed seeing one of my favorite decks. As a reminder, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy. Let me know if you want me to up kind of the conversation and strategy. I'm clearly still misplaying. I think I want to take this in a direction where I'm keeping a bit of a checklist so I can make sure that I'm going through, learn how to be a better player alongside the rest of y'all out there. And deck list is in the description. Let me know what you would change. Is this your favorite Flicker commander? There's so many options out there. There's so many alternatives. Let's start a conversation. Thank you very much for watching Supreme Verdicts. Have a good day.